Well, let's go into picks and bans for Game 2 and see how this one works out between the two teams. Elevate will be looking to put this one to bed as quick as possible, and they will be first pick here.
We have seen one split already today, though, between that last set. I mean, NRG and Valence, it was completely one-sided for NRG in game number 1, and then Valence had a beautiful response in the second one. Could potentially see the same story here for Burrito.
Camazot's the first ban from Elevate. They won't ban the Odin this time round. Burrito, RTO? Yeah.
I would have to expect it. It's Odin first.
Okay, Odin then into
first.
RTO, more than likely. Elevate with the option back to themselves here. More than likely with that secondary ban that Elevate have, the first pick, you kind of have a bit more freedom, I guess, to just take someone off that you don't really want to deal with on your style. You know, you don't play it, or it's going to be awkward for the composition you're going to try and run.
I could potentially see a Terra for Elevate first pick. Okay. A lot of teams in EU seem to be pretty prevalent. Yeah, it's just a very strong pick right now. You can't really go wrong with a Terra. She can also be flexed into that solo lane role if possible. Burrito sitting on this secondary ban pretty heavily here. I feel as though the decision is split between wanting to ban RDO and wanting to ban something else, but it will be RDO, just no chance at all.
No decision. Elevate with the first pick opportunity then. We mentioned the Terra. It's not something Dardez really enjoys, though. Dardez likes to go with shenanigans, but Jermain loves his Chronos, so...
I like the Chronos pickup as well. They didn't really get a chance to shine on it as much as he probably would have liked to, but still, not necessarily the ADC pick. It might possibly be going into the mid lane, although you're probably right, it most likely will be ADC.
Highlight for me for Burrito is probably FaraKrik in the mid lane there. The Toth, he did okay on that. Maybe he could go for that again, or Sol is another option that's quite safe in case he's going to get aggressed on.
He found a lot of nice final judgments there, and the only unfortunate aspect was that Elevate were so far ahead that he wasn't able to make as much of an impact. And this Nox, it could really be going either way. It could be Elevate trying to meme a little bit there with, oh, well, are we going to take it into that support role again
Salty
or
run
not?
back? Salty run back, do you reckon? We feeling it?
I don't know if I'd want a salty run back for Burrito. Elevate, there's nothing salty about it.
No, I mean, talking about Burrito's looking that way. Elevate's a match, and I'm like, well, okay, if you're going to pick Jing, Terra, and Jolin again, we'll go Chronos Nox again. But this time, Burrito's going to mix it up. Kuang.
A little bit more execution necessary, no pun intended, for Burrito. I mean, it's already pretty difficult when you're trying to run the Ravana, except Ravana at least is tanky and has that early survivability. Kuang is pretty risky, I would say, especially against the draft that Elevate has already opted for.
Silences and taunts and stuns, oh my. Kuang going to have a bit of a tricky situation here. We do see the Medusa ban from Burrito, though. Going to try and limit Mr. Stefan in the mid lane this time around, not giving that Medusa, because I think Mr. Stefan stood out very, very well there for me. It's not often you see Petrifies get used for damage, not necessarily just for the big all-time executing kill.
If he's looking for a physical 100, though, there's still a couple that he could try and take into the mid lane. I mean, apparently AMC, but there is also Uller, there is possibility for Anher,
Don't talk about proper hunters. What's further down the list? I'm trying to think.
Izanami?
Jubilanke?
No.
Jubilanke mid.
Jubilanke has viability with his ultimate.
Jubilanke mid, though.
Please, no.
I mean, you say that now, you just don't know. Might see it in this game, you don't know. Ravana, Athena. The last pick for Elevate is left up here. They did go with the Guan Yu last time round, but they're going to go with a Ho Yi.
Could potentially be mid, like we mentioned. This is very still likely to be Chronos, Jermain, and Hu Yi to Mr. Stefan, but either way, I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to swap things up a little bit and Jermain look for the more aggressive laning phase, even though he was playing that Chronos as aggressively as he possibly could, considering the matchup was fairly stalemated since nobody was really looking to push up from Burrito in that duo lane.
I really do like the composition from Burrito this time around, a little bit more than last game, I feel. Elevate, though, gone pretty much back to what they did game 1, just looking to rinse and repeat and put this one to bed. Burrito have to try and find an answer here. That last game did not look good for them at the start of the season, I've got to be honest.
Well, no numbers deciding to take the Ravana into the solo lane, not something that we're foreign to seeing. Ravana has been resurfacing every now and again into this solo lane role, but you're right, I do appreciate the Hercules pick more for Burrito. It's not necessarily something that's meant to lane bully as hard early on, but he can keep up with a Ravana, if anything, and on top of that, it's got a little bit more team fighting synergy.
Well, Cherryo and Stefan in the mid lane, Houyi and Athena up against Fusify and FaraKrik right now. As you can see, Fusify's come mid on this Terra to start things off, leaving Kespainify on his own on the left-hand side, and it's allowing Sibi and Dzoni to get a bit of a lead on the right instead. Clear out the wave 2 versus 1 against no numbers on that Ravana, and also take away the elementals. And look at this, Burrito, 4 members strong, looking to invade and cause problems. Fusify a little bit too late going forward there to try and steal the backs, and instead he's in a bit of trouble now. The speed buff is getting very low. The ricochet hits from Mr. Stefan, but it's not enough to bring down Fusify as the speed buff is stolen away and given to Burrito. That's a better start.
That is a significantly better start for Burrito already, this time ensuring that they had the pressure to invade against Elevate's draft. Cherryo, again, just aggressively dashing forward, knowing that he can clear out that lane pretty safely. Although Fusify probably suffering the most out of that trade-off. He just hit level 2.
And he also used his beads. Yes, that is a support starting beads, worried about the amount of CC. We saw it last game, and Burrito won't want them to have that issue of being able to continue the pressure consistently in the early stages and then snowball it to a point where there's just no way of getting back into it. Right-hand side, Burrito will strip away the blue buff after the speed 2, so this is pinning no numbers back underneath his tower. He'll be okay, but without blue buff, it makes it a little bit trickier to stay sustained in this lane with the amount of spam that he wants to use for his abilities.
No numbers isn't... he's not the SPL rookie anymore,
Sure.
I wouldn't say. He's had a little bit of experience now. He's been working alongside this Elevate roster.
Rafters?
I really just wanted to say rafters.
It's okay. It's a first day back.
Why.
Listen, it's first day back after a while, you're going to make mistakes. It's okay.
Words are pretty hard sometimes.
Sometimes. It's not like you do it for a living. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I'll keep that in mind with Stone Cold Steve Harvey. Don't worry.
Do so. Speed buff from the right being taken by Burrito now as it does respawn. So Johnny's up to a nice little lead over Cherryo in the jungle. That's very important for Kuang. Get him to level 5 as quick as possible. Try and get him to get a couple of early kills so he can get the extra stacks onto his passive.
I think that's also why we saw, again, the invade from Burrito. Speaking of which, Johnny getting a little frisky there with Mr. Stefan. Able to get away, though. And that's one of the aspects, and I think the main reason why we see the Houyi pick coming through is because he wanted that Mark of the Crow to try and keep tabs on Johnny.
No numbers in a bit of trouble here. Only level 4, doesn't have his ultimate to get away from the danger here. Boulder comes through, the execute available. Shell won't save you now, sunshine. The dragon is online and Johnny gets first blood.
And this is one of the downsides of Kuang early game. A lot of players will say you just want to invade him, keep him locked down tight from the early game, but as soon as he gets that first execute, it's kind of just questionable from there. So Johnny already getting a passive stack.
Gotta love the play out of Sibi though. Throws the boulder early on to bring him in execute range so Johnny can pick up the kill. Really heads up play from the solo lane there with Burrito to recognize that that's how we can get a substantial lead here and keep the pressure onto no numbers.
That's just the beauty of having communication with your teammates. Cherryo just
That's
little annoyance factors trying to prevent that back coming through from Johnny right away. And what is smart about it, like you were saying, is because that speed buff is going to be spawning.
Yep, and we just saw the invade first time round, so just that little delay from Cherryo means he can potentially go and get his own speed before Burrito can get in a position to look to aggress it again. Obviously, you can already see Mr. Stefan heading over to that right-hand side too to support, so speed should go Elevate's way unless something crazy happens this time around.
Not necessarily the greatest clear, but with that ricochet, it is going to spell the end of the speed buff, and it now belongs to Cherryo. More than happy. It's probably every jungler's worst nightmare whenever they're not able to get their speed buff.
And the army of Burrito start marching into this right-hand side to find out the speed is down, but Johnny's still swinging round towards mid. Cherryo in a bit of trouble here. The wall's going to crush onto him. In comes Johnny for a second with a poke, and a nice ultimate from FaraKrik there. One hit from death is Cherryo, but he will survive for now. So important to not fall too far behind in the early stages and not give Johnny a second kill.
And I do have to appreciate that disengage. Really smart recognition there by Elevate that FaraKrik's looking to go in on the soul, but speaking of which, it's no numbers trying to make it happen now onto Sibi being the primary target from Dardez, already locked away, trying to get the ultimate off, seeing if he can put anybody into execute range for Johnny.
Yeah, Hercules is already down, and in goes No Numbers looking to pick up Johnny here, who's trying to trade up and stay alive. The slow will help him out to keep No Numbers at bay for a second, and No Numbers will not dive the tier 1 tower there. But that was Burrito getting too greedy. They tried to 2-mana blue buff and didn't respect the fact that Athena had her ultimate.
I love love that respect from No Numbers to not dive the T1 tower, recognizing, sure, I could potentially get this kill, but if Dzoni turns, pops his 3 on me, and I take a tower shot and am put into execute range, that is the end of the chase.
1-1 in this game so far, and that was a mistake from Burrito, if I'm honest. They did buy off a little bit more than they could chew, collapsed on by 4 members against just 2. Simple math, really. 4 versus 2, it shouldn't work out very well.
I mean, it happened to them in the game before this one, so hopefully they don't keep trying to repeat the same mistakes, but either way, Burrito still putting up a pretty formidable fight here in game number 2.
Well, the Oracle's both going to go to Burrito then. Nice little work from them, so they're going to get free vision at that Gold Fury pit now. Those contestable mid objectives, so useful to get yourself a lead if you are even, if you continue to farm up evenly in the lanes. That's the only real difference maker, is who gets the most of these mid lane objectives.
And Dardez just throwing out that route, because why not? I'm Nox.
How do you shut down this Nox? That's the real question. How do you shut down Nox support in the early game?
And positioning becomes the most important part for Burrito. They just can't afford to be grouped together. Not so much for Dardez on the Nox as much as it is for Cherryo. Cherryo is the primary reason why this Nox has been able to work out as well as it has. He's been the one setting up everything. And typically it's the support meant to set up your jungler, but now it's Cherryo pretty much playing secondary support so that Dardez can get the other half of the lockdown able and ready to go for Elevate to follow up with.
Well, we'll see what happens going into the rest of the season now, because Elevate have kind of shown their hand a little bit with this Athena and the Nox combination. They did it at the end of last split into this split too. I'm predicting the only way to really split this up is maybe force Cherryo onto a different god, maybe take away the Athena potentially, but you're not going to ban it. But do you want to pick it? Like, you're going to have to run it yourself.
You could potentially pick the Athena, but I don't think that's the concern here. Sibi looking to go in onto Cherryo. Both Dzoni and Sibi missing their abilities, but same can't be said for Mr. Stefan, and now No Numbers, he's ready to go in.
Yeah, the turnaround is fair play. Now Boulder comes out from Sibi, hitting onto 2 targets. No Numbers has no escape. The walls come down. Shell keeps him alive for a second. Execute range is on, and Dzoni is not going to get to the sky this time round. He will not pick up the kill just yet. Still, though, the fight raging as Cherryo picks up Sibi. Next in the list is going to be Dzoni. Stefan cleans up that. Elevate gets 2 kills, and FaraKrik's running for his life, but Jermain has made this rotation all the way over and made an impact already, and now Sol's in trouble too.
Cherryo is a god for that play, but hold on, it might be FaraKrik and Jermain all the way from the duo lane coming on over. He's tired of not participating in the action, finding that nice cleanup kill onto the Sol, but really, that play and that counter engage for Elevate all comes down to Cherryo eating that Kuang ultimate.
Yeah, that really helped him out so much here. Now Elevate in a great position once again. They turn it around. It was Burrito that had control of this game for the first 5 to 6 minutes. But then that one little engagement, again, when Burrito looked for engages and invades onto the speed buff, they get punished.
The small mistakes here ultimately lead into bigger problems. So if Burrito, this game isn't completely out of their control just yet. It's only about a 1k gold lead, which is still manageable. Realistically, I'm keeping in mind the experience differences starting to trail away here for the enemy team. Elevate is a little bit more in favor as far as experience is concerned, but Jermain this time around not getting as much farm as before because he's making these rotations.
He's trying to fight against the whole squad here as the Gold Fury is being done, and they're keeping Jermain busy. Jermain's looking for the steal. Can he find it? Is the real question. Gold Fury goes to Burrito, and Jermain is dead. I don't really like that call, because now Dardez has gone in and taken a lot more poke too. Stefan is now collapsing, looking for Fusify. No Numbers commits. Fusify's in trouble. Into the Suns he goes. It's ending up being a 1-for-1 Hunter for support, but then add the Gold Fury to Burrito, and you're looking good.
I think that Fusify will take that trade all day long. He's not unaccustomed to dying with how much focus Elevate has been placing into him for both of these games. So overall, really excellent ultimate placement though by Mr. Stefan, cutting off that escape option from Fusify.
Gotta say, Mr. Stefan looks great as well. Like game 1, played the Medusa mid, now playing the Ho Yi, continuing to perform to a standard that, you know, he's not been very well seen in the mid lane because he's been overshadowed by other teams and other mid laners, but this game, he looks great.
Speaking of which, Dzoni getting caught out there trying to make a play onto Dardez in the backline, but instead he's getting dove onto himself. Burrito responding pretty well. and the Terra ultimate actually going to buy everybody enough time to really get out of danger.
It was an awkward situation because Burrito did want to find the kill, but Dzoni wasn't going to commit until execute range for Cherryo there. And in doing so, he has to just stay so far away. They've not got the damage to get him low enough in the first place. So for now, Cherryo will survive. Elevate keep their 5-2 leading kills with a 1k deficit because of the Gold Fury, however.
I like the mentality, though, for Dzoni to try and commit onto...
Ooh.
Wow, that ricochet.
And meanwhile, Speed Buff does get taken by Burrito this time round. No Numbers gets caught by that, has to overhead kick. Cherryo now on the way with the ultimate through, and Dzoni could be in trouble. Dashes away, but gets caught. The taunt was good from Cherryo. Good guessing direction. And the beads were burnt from Dzoni. In goes No Numbers looking for it, and a nice ult in response from Dzoni says, no, you will not pin me down. It bought him enough of a window for his team to turn up.
Oh, but the Hercules pull out of the Soul Ultimate, so unfortunate. A little bit of miscommunication. Luckily, though, Kespainify made the rotation to clean up that kill onto No Numbers. Cherryo, though, not ready to let this one go just yet, trying to find the return kill for his team, but Dardez route off the mark means that Sibi will get away for now.
So 1-0 in favor of Burrito there. And you can see it was Kespainify. We mentioned it. He was the one that rotated last time, and it was Jermain. Both the Hunters starting to get involved in the action a little bit more. Jermain chose to farm over rotate, which I think was wise considering he's had a bit of a deficit because of the first rotation.
That was a little bit more on Burrito's side of the map, so I think it's fair for Kespainify to rotate over, especially Jingwei having that passive.
Yeah.
You almost expect a Jingwei to just try and rotate as often as possible into those separate lanes, knowing that a Chronos isn't going to be able to get over there in the same amount of time.
So Burrito have stemmed the bleeding, I'd say here. They've managed to quarterize it for the time being. We'll see if this can continue. Fusify swinging over to the left, and I don't think Jermain recognizes he's here. He will do now as he just engages at the same time. Jermain's going to dash away and avoid all the abilities in the world, from the gust to the dash to the walls, until the minions fall down on the floors.
Doesn't even need to use his Aegis or his ultimate, just no concerns whatsoever. Burrito, however, trying to find that Oracle Vision, and they will secure it. They already had the Gold Fury timer, so it's not as important for them to have those Oracles. It's just one of those simple life benefits.
It feels like they played a little bit further back this time round as well, Burrito. Scared of this Cherryo combination. Cancelled. I just said it, and I've cast his curses. Fusify is removed from the map once more. Mr. Stefan gets credit for the kill thanks to the taunt silence combination.
And Cherryo again trying to find it onto FaraKrik, but he is going to be able to get away. That was what I was thinking, is that it was actually the beads from the soul.
Always tricky to see it on Soul too, isn't it, from the caster perspective, but No Numbers trading with Sibi in the jungle here. Sibi's having a pretty good game this time around. Last time was a bit of a different story. He's made an impact in this one. Both the Solar Lanes going for Breastplate of Valor. What's with Breastplate of Valor coming back, Taco?
I think that a lot of Soul Laners just remember that it has a ton of CDR, a lot of mana provided, and if you want to be spamming your cooldowns, that's probably one of the best routes to go.
Well, aggression on the right-hand side there from Dzoni and Burrito means to Elevate get to pressure mid a little bit more. That tier 1 tower has been chipped away quite nicely. Burrito on the right, though, still grouping 3 strong at the moment, looking towards his speed buff.
For me, I'm looking at Dzoni, who opted for that Book of the Dead second item. Only I thought, though, he was getting aggressed onto. Purification beads already forced out, but the execute is good onto No Numbers.
Just causes an issue for Elevate to try and cause an issue, and then it's onto Dardez, but Dardez's silence will pin them back, and the route is good too. Speed buff does fall down, give it over to Dzoni again, so Burrito with a successful invade, and another kill for the Kuang.
While all that mayhem was breaking out, however, Kespainify was just farming away in that mid lane, able to lock down that T1 tower, and now the Portal Demon is being aggressed onto by Burrito while everybody was all eyes onto Kespainify.
Yeah, Fusify's doing a good job against Jermain here. Sun's written down for Mr. Stefan, not the greatest position, and as he does eat a Pinata ball to the face there for a second from Sibi. Cherryo forced out again as the Portal Demon is getting lower, and with a Soul and a Jingwei, it won't take long to kill it. Cherryo gets knocked up, won't look for the taunt, instead Jermain's too far forward, knocked again in the sky. Nice little silence from Dardez, stops Kespainify applying more pressure, giving Jermain a window to escape, but it did cost him a relic.
And his ultimate, which is completely reasonable, just trying to be safe in case somebody was coming through that portal to lock him down. Speaking of locking somebody down, Dzoni onto Dardez, just out of range with the 2.
And Dardez going to get away from Jermain, but Jermain hasn't realized there was reinforcements round the corner. No ultimate this time, no relics available. The dragon is here once more, and Kuang is being shown as why Kuang is now viable.
It's just that first initial kill, that one stack into the passive really permits him to just have so much more damage. He opted for the Book of the Dead.
Ooh,
Speaking of which, Sibi just trying to get away from No Numbers, but No Numbers might have gone in a little bit too deep as the rest of Burrito tries to collapse.
Yeah, Burrito collapsed on that Gold Fury so quick that they managed to turn around straight afterwards and pick up the kill. Mr. Stefan could not find the ricochet there. Cherryo still in trouble, looking to dash away, but FaraKrik's there. The Stellar Burst is good. It will slow him down. One more hit will be good, but no. They won't be able to find the Earthbreaker from Sibi. 6-6, and Burrito have the lead.
And the discipline from Dzoni to not dive. He's already been getting a little bit of that snowballing factor on the Kuang. This Book of the Dead, although expensive, has started to really pay off for him. We're so accustomed to seeing Kuang's rushing that Polynomicon second item because it is very viable on him. But this massive power spike for Dzoni is still playing out nicely for him.
The interesting thing, though, is Book of the Dead versus Bancrofts. There's upsides and downsides for both, right, Taco?
Book of the Dead gives him a little bit more lifesteal, and I think that that's more important, especially since it can be that shield buffer, which can come in handy against these knocks and the Athena taunts. It's just so much CC from Elevate that as long as he's able to survive through the initial starting point of it, he can typically find the kill.
Okay. Well, Jermain now level 15 up against Kespainify, who's done a good job on this Jing so far. Level 16 has a full Devour's Gauntlet and the Executioner. No real surprise to see the crit coming along now for the Jing.
And this is the part of the matchup where Jing can really start to benefit against these magical hunters, is rushing the triple crit build, plus her in-hand auto attacks also give her a boosted crit percentage on her second ability. So you've got to keep that in mind whenever she's trying to proc these crits to really shut out Jermain from the team fights.
Dzoni roaming around on this Kuang now, also level 15. At the moment, 2 levels over Cherryo in the jungle. A little bit too late to go for the red buff there, but there's a chance for 3-man pressure from Burrito on this left-hand side. Obviously, the middle tier 1 tower is already down, which means they can easily group to the left and not worry too much.
And Mr. Stefan actually is so concerned about the healing potential from Burrito, rushing the Brawler's Beatstick, third item after Transcendence. It's a lot of damage as well, but speaking of damage, Dzoni just taking out half of Dardez's HP.
Still going in, looking for the kill on Dardez. Dardez is already in. FaraKrik gets caught in for the kill. Cherryo in trouble on that Guardian form, and he's going to get the Dragon form through just as the dash happened. Terrible news. In comes Mr. Stefan, though. Gets a good ricochet after Kespainify. No Numbers may be able to clean that one up, but still underneath the tier 2 tower dives Dzoni and Sibi. And Mr. Stefan will find a quick trip back to the fountain.
And Jermain somehow managed to get on the backside all this time after that rewind, chased out by the soul, but it doesn't even matter. Now this T2 tower is exposed to Burrito, and their rampage is going to ensue.
Yeah, the tier 2 tower will fall here. I don't think there's any stopping them whatsoever. No Numbers can't really do anything. If he walks forward to clear the minions, which is what he'd like to do, they're just going to all in him, especially with the situation they're in. And you can see Jermain just went mid to farm out instead.
At this point in time, last game, Burrito was down about 7-8k gold to Elevate, and it's just these teams are completely flip-flopping in between. We saw the same thing happen between Energy and Valence. We're seeing the same thing unfold here for Burrito in game number 2 against Elevate, and that is just so imperative to me, how a team can bounce back. These teams in EU are really taking the losses on the chin and then coming back with an uppercut just as strong.
Especially with how strong that last game was from Elevate. Burrito here looking for their first ever win in this split in the first game. They took all split last time to try and find a win against the Pappies, and they only found one. They're looking to split on opening day in the Pro League here. Burrito have a shot of, showing them in the mix to try and make top 6 here.
I think, if anything, Burrito just recognized their mistakes from the previous game. And like I said, I don't feel as though it was really the draft as much as it was them giving up too much too soon, trying to play overly aggressive. They didn't do that this game. They played their matchups to their advantage, went in when they could, recognized when they shouldn't, and backed off. It's the discipline factor that's really benefited here for them.
Paul Demon has just spawned, and Burrito in a fantastic position to start this up if they so choose. But Elevate, recognizing it's available too, will turn up and start to place their own wards down. Fusify being looked at by Cherryo here, but the taunt misses, as does the silence from Dardez. As Sibi and No Numbers trade over wards for now, the Hunters continue doing what they do best in farming.
Fusify does have his purification beads available as well, just in case he does get caught out. But I don't think that that's going to be as much of an issue. I can't see them trying to target him as much. Burrito trying to zone out Elevate as they aggress onto this Portal Demon, but it looks like more of a bait than a fight.
It feels that way too. No Number's being distracted by Fusify, who's just running circles around him. Sibi gets a nice little pluck. Nice little silence, however, comes out from Dardez, and Sibi's in trouble. Tanky old Hercules will not survive this burst, and Fusify's one hit too. Ticking away from Dardez, his damage from the ultimate there won't be enough to pick up the kill. And if Fusify gets back, they do have the Portal Demon to fall through. Burrito lose one member, but get the Portal Demon.
And because of that Portal Demon, Elevate can't try to pressure any advantage onto that Fire Giant, knowing that at any point Burrito could come back through full health. And that seems to be the case. Dzoni, he's going deep. He's looking for Jermain.
And he might be able to find him too. He'll clean it with the illusion and then look for Cherryo, who survives the dragon. But still Cherryo in trouble. No Number's being chased down by Kespainify at the same time. On the backside, he'll be back to safety, but Cherryo is got a decision between a rock and a hard place. Who do you want to give the kill to is the real question. It's not going to be so. Oh my god, how is he still going?
He's just trying to run away as much as possible. Kespainify finding the kill finally onto Cherryo. It's just not enough to escape.
And that was Elevate just hanging around too long. They did the fight well. They got one kill. They chased Fusify too much. And before long, Burrito went, well, we can just go back for the Portal Demon and fight once more.
The problem there is, how do you not stick around knowing that the enemy team dropped the Portal Demon, because they have more than enough burst, even with only 4 members alive, to drop that Fire Giant. Unfortunately for Elevate, they kind of didn't have any other choice but to try and ensure that Burrito wasn't just immediately deep-seeing the Fire Giant.
11-7. Goldie is just over 10,000 in favor of Burrito right now. Sorry, just under, I should say. And 9,800 experience too. Normally at 20 minutes in, you're looking to try and be, you know, like 3-4k down maximum, really, and maybe 1 or 2k down in experience, but it's not looking good for Elevate here. They're on the back foot as Burrito start the Fire Giant.
Practically 10k in both XP and in gold, and only getting even further ahead as Dzoni gets the final hit onto that Fire Giant. But man, this is going to be a rough one for Elevate to try and hold off. You've got the burst potential out of the Kuang, and everybody else that follows after is just bonus damage.
I do like the adjustments from Burrito from game 1, though. They made mistakes in the invasions, and the composition didn't work as well as he wanted to. Small adjustments, the fact that they bring in the Kuang instead has helped him out. Sibi will survive there for a long period of time. He is playing Hercules after all. The Tier 2 tower, different story. Burrito take that in spades and then swing straight round to the right-hand side.
Not having that Hui ultimate available, however, for this final T2, it seems as though Elevate don't want to give up these T2s willingly. They might not have an option, though. Sibi, even being under half health, knowing that his team is backing him up, not scared whatsoever to push forward.
Yeah, FaraKrik a little bit too far forward around that corner. Didn't expect the whole of Elevate to be there. Dzoni going to go to get his speed buff, though, as Burrito will clear out the minions first of all. He is a jungler. Don't laugh at him. Speed buff's important, especially now Kuang.
In imperative team fight going on, a speed buff on the map.
He's
you
a
already
jungler.
know where the jungler is going to be.
Sure.
But to be fair, it's more a joke than anything else. Dzoni's been playing absolutely great on this Kuang, waiting for his moment.
Early boulder there, surprising enough, and Sibi's taking a lot more damage than he would like to. Dardez can't clean him up, but the Tier 2 tower falls down. There's a big ultimate coming out from FaraKrik on that Sol in the mid lane here. It won't be enough to stop Elevate just yet, but Elevate is still falling back. Kespainify, what are you doing, son? Calm it down a second. In goes Fusify, looking to continue the pressure and keep pressuring Elevate back. Burrito looking now at the Phoenix.
And Kespainify, he doesn't have his beads available. Cherryo is more than aware of this, ready to go back in. Beautiful blink there by Dzoni. The second that Cherryo started his dash, he was ready to get out of there.
No hanging around from Burrito either. Straight away, get the Tier 2. Look, see that everyone's still okay from Elevate. Let's just fall back. We'll get another speed buff for Dzoni this time round. Sibi really wanted it, but Dzoni was like, no, I need to refresh it one more.
When you go from 60 seconds back to 119, that's the important part.
Feels jungler, man. Torn onto Dzoni, and the beads has been used, and Dzoni feeling a little bit overconfident there, not respecting that Elevate still have people up on this backside, but left-hand side, who's that? Mr. Stefan, where you going? I'll tell you where you're going. Back to the fountain.
And that is the last place that his team wants him to be right now, because that gives another window opportunity for Burrito to look for a Phoenix. Kespainify needs a little bit of health, though. Probably trying to find some sort of camp that he can heal off of. If anything, he'll have the minion wave. Granted, there's also a Terra available on his team. Dardez not even bothering trying to drop the root onto Fusify, trying to hold that.
Cherryo's already dead, bursted down already, 24 minutes in, and now pressure in the mid lane from FaraKrik at the same time. 2 members being down for Elevate, and a few more seconds still means this Phoenix in the left should fall down. At least one Phoenix should fall in a 3v5 scenario.
And the Soul has just been silently split pushing away in that mid lane. There is a creep wave available. Can't see this Phoenix standing for much longer, although Sibi, same story could be said for him as Jermain immediately takes him off the table. But Kespainify responds, no numbers, you are gone.
3 versus 4 as the ricochet comes out to Dzoni, who's still alive on the backside. Meanwhile, Dardez is 1 hit from death, but Jermain is completely dead. Burrito are looking to close this out and make it a split. Most people would have put money on Elevate, but the Burrito boys have done work here today to make sure this was evened up after a disastrous game 1. Full credit to them coming back into it and Elevate. Well, they will not be happy about how their opening day went.
Burrito not wasting as much time as Elevate did in that game number 1 and just immediately locking that one away. And again, wonderful response by this team.
So what was the big turning point? What was the big turning point in that game? Was there one, or was it just the decision to have this out Kuang that kind of upped the game of Burrito here?
I think it was really just that first kill onto no numbers for Dzoni. As soon as you get that initial stack into the Ao Kuang, he just benefits so much from it. And it's just a telling story. His positioning was so much better. He followed up onto his team, and his team as well wasn't leaving him hanging. They were dropping everything onto their target.
Sure, and then Dzoni just continued putting the pressure on the whole game because Elevate were distracted by where's the Ao Kuang, where's the Ao Kuang. Meanwhile, they were still getting hit by Sol and Jing, and when these guys weren't doing damage, they were too busy taking objectives the whole time.
Yeah, you saw how the crit came into play for Kespainify at the end there when he locked away Jermain trying to get that rewind off. It's just incredible whenever you get to see these drafts actually come to fruition.
3 sets down so far today, 2 splits and 1 2-0. Last set of the day coming up, Dignitas versus Rival. Where's your money going?
This, with how things have already been going today, it's so hard to say. I would probably have to bank on a split here as well.
Well, we'll find out after the break what happens in Dig versus Rival. We'll be right back.
A secret kiss from painted lips. Yeah, we can move in. A taken bed, a sun to set, and maybe we're falling.
Let's get it now.
A sudden touch, a fever rush. Yeah, we can stay in. A fiery flame, a clever game, and maybe we're falling.
Let's get it now.